Hi everybody, it's Sally from Sally Stampers. Thank you for joining me today. Today I'm bringing you a gatefold card. Now I know that it's not something that I generally do, what you would probably class as fancy fold cards, but I thought, you know, anybody can make cards and anybody can have a go at making cards, and pretty much everybody can do a basic book fold or tent fold card. Some people may struggle with how to do a tent fold, a gatefold, and what to do with them. So I just thought, well, I'll do one, just a fairly simple one, just to show off a beautiful embossing folder and this beautiful stamp set that I just still love even now. And it's just quite simple, but obviously they stand up really nicely as well on a mantelpiece or a shelf or wherever somebody wants to display them. So I thought I'd just show you how to make this one, and as I say, it is fairly quick and simple. So I'm going to do just exactly the same one. So I'm going to start with some real red cardstock, and I'm actually just going to use my trimmer to trim it. So this piece of cardstock is 6 by 8, and I'm simply going to score 2 inches in that side, spin it round, and do 2 inches on this side. That's it. Simple as that. So obviously once you've done that part of it, you just fold it over and burnish those score lines. And as you can see already, there is your gatefold card. And you just need to decorate it, which is really simple. So the panels on the outside, I've just used Whisper White, and they, excuse me, they are 1 3/4 by 5 3/4 inches, and I'm going to use the Holly Textured Impressions embossing folder. And as you perhaps know, when I use my folders, I always spritz them with a little bit of water. It just softens the card, stops them from cracking, stops them from looking a little bit unsightly, I think. And I simply just give it a quick, I don't want to spray everywhere because I always do this off the side, but obviously you can't see that. So I just literally quick spritz on both sides, because obviously you're still going to be embossing both sides. And then I bring in my Big Shot, and the good thing with these two panels, I've done it again, look, handle the wrong side. The good thing with these two panels is that they're just the right size for you to fit both in. And I literally just butted them up to the join on the embossing folder and closed them up. Just make sure that they are straight, because, you know, even though they're going on the panel, on the sides of the cards, etc., you don't want them wonky. So I'm just using my basic platform and my clear plate sandwich at the bottom. The hinged part of your folder goes in first, top of the sandwich on top, and then we just whiz them through. I've not really used this embossing folder much, and I must admit, when I used it on this card, I was actually quite pleased with the results, and I do actually quite like it, so I may just make a few more cards with this embossing folder actually. So there we are. Now, when I made the first one, and I made this one, obviously this is the embossed side, but I quite like the debossed side as well. So I thought, when I come to make this one with you, I'm going to use the debossed side on the card and just see what the difference will be. See how interesting that is. Not very, I'm sure. But anyway, so I've embossed or debossed my panels, so I just want to stick them onto the sides. So obviously I'm just going to use some snail just on there, and then just simply going to put my panel in place. And then the same with this side, and just make sure if you are doing it differently to normal, you pay attention, because you don't want one side embossed and the other side debossed, because that would look ridiculous. Right, so I'm just going to stick this one on. All the measurements for all of these pieces will be on my blog, and the link for that, as usual, is just below. So if you want to have a look and try this yourself, then obviously you can do. It's also got all the products listed on there as well. So there's my pretty debossed gatefold card. So now I just need to put my pretty bit on the front. So I've got my piece for the inside, and this is 5 3/4 by 3 3/4, and then I have these 3 layers here. So excuse me, so this one is 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. This one, which is red glimmer paper, is 3 by 3, and then this one is 2 3/4 by 2 3/4, and they all just sit quite nicely. So I'm going to go ahead and stick my glimmer onto my cardstock. And I'm just going to pop that on there. And I'm just going to pop that to one side for a moment because I need these 2 pieces, get rid of all the glitter. I need these 2 pieces to do my stamping. So, beautiful Good Tidings. And so first off, I'm going to use my sentiment, my D block on my sentiment, and I'm going to use this glitter and fluff on this. I have no clue how. So just grab my basic black, and I'm just going to give this glitter everywhere. That's the downside with using glimmer paper. Look, you get absolutely smothered in it. So I'm going to pop my sentiment right in the centre, which I'm happy with, and I forgot to wet my stamping scrub, so I do apologise while I just do that. Give that a good scrub, get the black off. Okay, and so next up I will need, I'm going to leave that for a moment just to finish off drying. I know they do dry pretty quickly, but just while that's finishing off, I'm just going to do my real red on my middle piece, my inside piece, so that this can dry before I go to stick it on. And I've just used the other sentiment down here on this one, so I'm going to use real red to pop this on. And I know I'm not doing this the best way possible in terms of lining it up, but I don't think that was too bad a job. Alright, so we'll put that away. My blocks are getting a little bit dirty. I think I'm going to have to give them a clean. Right, so I'm just going to pop that to one side while that one dries off. Bring this one back in. So I want my garden green, whoops, and my real red, which I've already got out there. So as I've probably showed you before with this, I'm obviously using the smaller ones this time, so it's these 3 in the corner here and this one here, and it just say next to them 2 A, B, C and D. So this is 2A, which I want to stick on, and this is the one that I'm going to stamp off. So ink up, stamp off, and then stamp on. Ink up, stamp off, stamp on. I mean, the other way you could do this is also by stamping them onto a separate piece of Whisper White and then cutting them out. You'd obviously have to fussy cut them, but you could still do it. So 2B, which obviously doesn't get stamped off, and you just need to line it up on the top. My dog's barking as usual, always the same. I'll stamp that one. There's somebody at the door. That's always helpful, isn't it? I let them out. Let the dogs out. They can go and bark to their heart's content. So I've completely forgotten where this one should go now. And the dogs continue to bark. It's always the same, isn't it? Doesn't matter, whatever you do. So I'm just lining these up, and as you can see, it is a little bit fiddly just trying to line them up. That's not brilliant, but it's not too bad. And then we just do the berries. So again, we'll have, let's put the green away. So my real red, and I want 2C, which again, stamp off, and stamp in the gap. And you can sort of twist and turn and you'll find that they do actually sit right in the gap nicely. The only thing is, I'll say again, just be mindful with this extra bit here, because it does get caught in the ink and it can get all over your project, which you don't want. And then last but not least, 2D, which again you just stamp, oops, that one really wasn't very good, over the top. I think this may well be a reject card because this really isn't lining up very well at all. Right, so that's those done. Put that out of the way. Let's get rid of this, get rid of that, and bring the rest of the bits back in. So whenever I'm adhering to glimmer paper, I actually use my fuse, just because it's a rougher surface and you're not going to have as much contact, so you need a slightly stronger adhesive, so I generally use fuse. So just pop that one in there, and again, because it still might be just a tad bit wet, I'm going to turn it over and press it down just to get that ink adhering. And then I'm just going to use my snail to put the centerpiece in. So just open my card up. The glitter is everywhere. Line your piece up when you're happy with it. Obviously just give it a press, making sure you don't have ink on your hands. And then to line this up so that you can get it, I can't even pick it up now, so that you can get it sort of making sure that you don't have adhesive hanging over the edge here. What I simply did was I put this on and thought, right, where do I want it? Do I want it sort of top, bottom? Do I want it off to one side? But I had sort of decided in the end that it was just going to go in the middle, simple as that. And I sort of lined up with my, you know, eyeballed it, that it's by the O here. So it basically needs to be adhered to about there. So I just put a tiny little nail mark. Again, I'm going to use fuse just because there's only half of this panel that's obviously being adhered on. And then again, I just close my card up and line this one up again. Just making sure that I have an equal amount of white either side of this. Give it a little press, open it up. Hey presto, we have no adhesive and we have our card done. What do you think? I really like them. I think it's a lovely card. It's just got the right amount of colour, I think, for Christmas. I think I do prefer the embossed one than the debossed one. I'm hoping you can see the difference. There you go. I'd be interested to know which one you preferred. You know, it's to each person's taste. I think I do prefer the embossed one. But like I said, quick and simple gatefold card that you can decorate however you feel. But it just adds that nice little bit of Christmassy just with the glimmer on there as well. Hope you've enjoyed my project. Hope to see you all again soon. Bye.